What if you didn't have to be a marketer to be brilliant at marketing? Hey, you, I'm Sarah Grace, CEO of Victress Global. Look, the world is marketing to women using masculine strategies, and it does not work. Using my unique V2 marketing system, I've been able to help so many entrepreneurs escape slimy, salesy marketing strategies, spend less time at the computer, and grow their businesses in a way that lets them take Fridays off. No joke. So stick around. I'll make sure you know exactly how to tackle marketing in a way that feels awesome. And P.S. Some of these episodes come from live trainings inside my private Facebook group. Search for V2 Marketing on Facebook, and you can join me live every single week. Let's rock and roll. Hey, all of you, this is Sarah from Sarah Grace Live and CEO of Victress Global. We are diving in today all about how do I choose who to collaborate with. We are talking affiliates, we are talking JVs, we are talking about partnerships, we are talking about all of the things in which you would actually want to work with another individual or brand, and how do you do that the right way instead of the wrong way. Well, can we first dive into the fact that this topic really, really matters. There is no secret that collaborating, working with another business or brand or individual is one of the most robust and also oddly fulfilling ways, especially as a woman, to grow your brand, to grow your following, to grow the interest in what you offer. There is no question that it really is one of the most robust options out there. So how do we actually collapse time and make it work really, really well for us right from the get-go? Well, I think that we really have to go into the backstory of how do we do it in a way that is actually damaging to the business. Can we talk about how to collaborate in a way that is damaging to the business? I really have two examples. So the first example is my own example. And when I was working in a different industry, I was in business, but I was not teaching business. And I was working in this industry, it was actually in the photography industry. And we had a pretty good run for the very, very first year of being open. And so I really wanted to expand how many people were seeing what we were doing, and how are we going to be able to create more interest and get new blood. And I was terrified of Facebook ads. I wasn't going to do that. Anybody else feel that way? So I'm like, how am I going to get more people in front of what it is that we do here? So immediately I thought, well, I've got to do some sort of affiliate marketing, or I've got to work with people and pay them if they share my product and all that kind of stuff. And I just was really new to it. So here's what I did. The only question I asked myself is I said, okay, if I need photographers, then I need to attract people that also cater to photographers. Okay. So basically the question I was asking myself is, who shares my audience? Okay, is that a familiar question that some of us ask when we dive into an affiliate agreement or a partnership or something like that, is who shares my audience? Because that would be kind of the no-brainer way to go about doing this, right? It is the absolute wrong question. Whoa, what? That's the wrong question? It absolutely is the wrong question, because here's what started to happen. I started to go after people that were attracting photographers. We were a photography education site. So I started to dive in and work with other, education sites and other experts and other photographers. And here is what started to happen. I started to notice that even though our collaboration, it would go okay, I would do all the work, right? I would get all the graphics ready. I would get all the emails ready. I would do all of the posting. I would do all of the scheduling. I was doing all this work, and we'd have a little blip in growth or something like that. But long term, I was growing everybody else's audiences. Okay, it ended up that I was actually losing customers to these people that I was bringing in to promote my brand. Okay, and I was dying inside. I was like, I am doing all the work to then lose customers and send them over to these other brands that I had reached out to collaborate with. And it was a total nightmare. And so I sat there and I was like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing wrong? And so I was sitting with a mentor of mine, and she is still a mentor to this day of mine, and I love her. And I was talking with her, and I said, I don't understand what I am doing wrong. I am going after what's, said in the world of Dream 100 people, or I'm going after potential fabulous affiliate marketers, people that really know the game of this kind of partnership work. And I was partnering with them, and all that's happening is I am growing their businesses. And in fact, I am taking a loss because I am losing customers. What is going on? So this wonderful mentor, and this is the moment of truth right here, and what this whole training is based upon. She sat with me and she said, Sarah, you are working with competitors, not collaborators. And I sat there and I said, Say it again. She said, Sarah, you are working with competitors, not collaborators. And immediately in my mind, I'm like, is there a difference? Is there really a difference between a competitor and a collaborator? And what is that difference? Because everything that I had been taught up to that point was just to find people who share your audience, bottom line. And boy, was that the wrong approach to being able to make collaborations work. Okay, so if you've been in a situation where you have thought about collaborating, or you've collaborated and you felt like, gosh, it didn't like turn into much, or I'm growing other people's businesses, then you are most likely working with competitors instead of collaborators. And we're going to distinguish how you distinguish those two different groups of people in your business today. That's the plan for today. So my second example of this is actually a more recent example. As I was working with a woman, she's got a huge business, it's in the 8-figure industry, and I was working with her and we were trying to negotiate a partnership agreement. And one of the things she said, I am so scared to partner. And I said, why? What's going on? Like, we don't need to be afraid of this. Like, tell me where your challenges are when you think about partnering with another business, right? Because her and I were thinking of doing a collaboration. And she said, and tell me if this sounds familiar, she said, Sarah, every time that I have invested in any kind of a collaboration, what happens is I actually lose customers, and I have invested to grow the collaborator's business. Is that sounding so familiar? That was exactly what I experienced in the photography industry. Is I had been working with competitors growing their business instead of finding an actual collaborator. And so I could pull on my big wisdom, because I had been taught from a mentor years before that, oh my goodness, my friend, you are working with competitors instead of collaborators. So how do we decipher what the difference is so that when we collaborate, it actually is a win for the collaborator, and it actually does the thing you want it to do, which is to increase your sales and grow your business, okay? So that's what we're gonna determine today, is what is the difference between a competitor and a collaborator, and how do we choose who those people are, and we will get rocking and rolling. So the first thing is a competitor is someone that shares your audience, okay? Now that is not the only thing that a competitor is, okay? A competitor is also someone that produces your same results using a similar method. Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute so you can take notes, get it in your brain. A competitor not only has your same audience, but they also produce results, your same results, using a similar method. Okay? So I want you to take just 5 or 10 seconds, whether you are watching this in the Facebook group or you're listening to this on the podcast, see if you can actually determine, oh my gosh, I know who my competitors are, okay? And there may be somebody that you actually think is a competitor that you're like, oh, that person doesn't fit the bill, okay? She actually produces really different results than I do. Great results, but different than mine, okay? That's because she's probably a collaborator, and we're gonna talk about that in just a hot minute. But a competitor is someone who shares your same audience and produces similar results using a similar methodology, okay? Those are not the people that we want to be collaborating with. And you will be really, really tempted to collaborate with them because it's such a no-brainer that they share your same people, right? They share your same people. But don't go there, because what's going to happen is you will eventually lose customers by doing all this work up front, and then they will eventually end up building the business of the potential collaborator, but is now a competitor. And that's not what we want to have happen with you. So what I really want to do is I want to reframe, how do we then find collaborators, okay? And I'm going to give you my favorite Instagram trick on how to do this. However, we now need to define, okay, then what is a collaborator, okay? Now, regardless if you're in the Facebook group or you're listening to this on the podcast, I want you to visualize a horizontal line, okay? A big, long horizontal line. And I want you to dive in to maybe 5 or 6 tick marks on that line, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's say there's 6 tick marks on that line, all about an inch apart or something like that. And you can actually doodle this in front of you if it'll help you visualize it, okay? Now I want you to think about your customer. And if you've actually had customers and made money from a customer, think about that specific customer. So I've got one in my brain, okay? And I want you to think about her, and I want you to put her like 4 or 5 inches above that horizontal line, okay? So she is the customer. Everything below her are all of the problems that she has experienced that have been solved by entrepreneurs in your arena. Okay, so if she has had health challenges, she more than likely has gone through some sort of a customer journey, which is the horizontal line, and she has had problems solved along the way in a certain order. Those are the 6 tick marks, okay? The 6 tick marks that we put up there before, okay? So I want you to think about her, and I want you to say, okay, now that I know that she has tried this with her health, she has tried this, she has tried this to solve her health, she has tried this, and she may have even received results along the way, which is great because that means people are great at what they do. But more than likely, she has had an experience in which she now needs you, that you become one of the tick marks, meaning she is looking for a result. Okay, she is looking for a result that you offer, and that is your time to shine and to find her and to embrace her and to show her all the solutions that you have and help her produce that result using your unique methodology. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example because this is going to help you really narrow down what collaborators look like for you and how you can better find them using my Instagram trick, okay? So here's what it looks like. In my world of business, I help people with automation and I help them to scale their business to a 6-figure endeavor. That's what I do. I help them make money and I help them with automation. Those are my specialties, okay? If you're gonna call me and ask me how to set up an email, like how I zap it into whatever program you're using, I'm not your girl, okay? I'm not your girl, and that's okay? I live at kind of this specific lane in business where people, they have a business idea, they've got the starts of an audience, and what they really wanna do is they wanna learn how to automate it so they don't have to work a lot, and they wanna be able to maximize their income up to the 6-figure level. I know where I land right now. That is where I land, okay? That is where I am on the tick box. Okay, so when I look at that horizontal line and I think, who are people I can collaborate with? Okay, well, I do need that person that is really, really good at hand-holding people through like templates and through email collaboration or hookups, or like, I don't even know the right words, okay? That's how funny it is, okay? I need that kind of person. Well, I also need someone that's gonna help them actually build a course or build a product or design a product. That's a problem that I don't solve, that they need solved before they find me, right? Okay, probably another person that they would have gone to is someone that's gonna help them with social media strategies, because that's one of our earliest marketing endeavors when we start a business. They've probably found a social media strategist, okay? Okay, that would be someone that they would need to visit before me, and then I come in. Then this is my space to shine, and I can teach them all about automation, and I can teach them what a 12-hour work week looks like, what really matters when you're building to 6 figures, and I can be there for them and exist. And then guess what? When my clients, when they hit the 6-figure, and even when they hit the $500,000 mark, I then know exactly who to send them to help them hit the 7-figure mark and the 8-figure mark. Because there's people after me that solve scaling problems, that solve like team problems, that solve fulfillment problems, all those kinds of things. So do you see how I belong on a horizontal storyline with my customers, okay? And the reality is, whether you're listening, wherever you're listening to this, I may not be the right space for you right at this moment, because you may be beyond what I help with, or you may be before what I help with, and you're figuring out other things. But I know right where my lane is, and therefore I can look to what are all the problems that people need solved before they come to me. Those are my collaborators. What are all the people that serve all the problems that exist after people hit 6 figures? Those are collaborators. I know my lane, and the collaborators are people who solve problems on the customer's horizontal customer journey before my problems and after my problems are solved. Is that making sense? Okay. So what I would really recommend that you do is that you put on paper what your customer journey looks like. Okay, because this is what mine looks like. And you're going to start to meet some of my own collaborators, because I know that they solve problems that are either before my products or after my products, and it makes so much sense. And you can walk in with total confidence knowing, I don't care if you steal my customers, because if you steal my customers, you're either better preparing them to come to me later, or you're stealing my customers because I did my job so well and I'm passing them on to you so that you can help them shine. Do you see how that is the win-win? That is totally the win-win, okay? So let's dive into what my personal like horizontal ladder looks like and the people involved in that. And that will help you stay far, far away from working with competitors. And then I'm going to give you my favorite tip on if you are someone that is saying, I'm kind of new to this and I have no clue even where to start to find these people, like actual people to collaborate with, okay? I'm going to give you my tip on how to get started with that. Okay, so if you look at mine, and I'm just going to look at my notes right here on the left, okay? So I need someone on my customer journey that is going to help people wade through all of the tech problems that people exist with when they first start a business, okay? That person for me is Misty Marsh from the Goodness Squad. I love her. I send people to her all of the time to get templates, to get their email hooked up, to get their sales page done, all that kind of stuff. I send people to her all the time and I love her and I'm happy to send people to her and I will collaborate with her as long as our businesses are aligned this way, okay? Because she solves problems that I don't. Okay. Next, I also know that there are people that need to understand what really good web design looks like web design that matters, web design that increases sales, that kind of stuff. That is my girl, Catherine Jones. Okay. Catherine Jones is the queen of design hacking. And if anybody has problems with that, that is who I will send you to because that's not my lane, right? She is someone I could easily collaborate with. Okay. What about someone who wants to be really, really like a lot more engaging and help people trust them and buy from them on video? Well, that is my girl, McCall Jones. She does charisma hacking. So those are all people who solve problems that people would most likely want to have solved before they ever came to me. Okay, they want to figure out kind of what their product is. They want to make sure that technically some things are set up. They want to be better on video. And then they may actually start to value what I offer, meaning automation and the 6-figure level. And it's like, oh, okay, Sarah's my girl. And I'm so grateful for all those people that came before, but now I know that it's time for me to work with Sarah because that's where I belong, right? So I've got Misty Marsh before me, I've got Catherine Jones before me, I've got McCall Jones before me, then I get to slip in here and I get to teach all about automation, I get to teach about 6 figures and marketing to women, and then when people are ready for the 7 to 8 figure level, I'm going to send you to my own coach, Katie Richardson, and I'm going to say, here's the person that's going to help you with scaling, and here's the person that's going to help you with fulfillment and how to grow a team and all those kinds of things. That is where I can send people, okay? So immediately I've been able to line up, here are all the problems people are experiencing. Some of them I solve and some of them these other people solve. And I want to collaborate with people who produce results in those problems that I do not solve. Yes? Can I get an amen? That is my own customer journey and why I can feel comfortable reaching out to those people because our audiences, while similar, we produce very different results in very different arenas that are necessary for the customer. In fact, if I can even open your minds to a very abundant way to do marketing, it's kind of incredible to think about actually. If you were to take maybe 6 people total, let's say you're like, here are 6 people that now that I know what collaborators are, and I know that all 6 of us serve our customers at different levels, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? And we all serve on a different part of the customer journey. We produce great results, solving very different problems than one another. I have heard of amazing collaborations going on where 6 people get together and they look at the year 2023 and they promote each other year round. So this person that solves the earliest problem, all the other 5 people promote that person for the first 2 months of the year. Then the next person who solves the next problem in line, they promote them in March and April. All those people promote them. Now, why are you able to do that in such an abundant way? Because nobody is stepping on toes. Everybody knows that you are solving problems they do not know how to solve, that they're not good at solving, or that they don't want to solve. And it is an incredible kind of symbiotic relationship in how you can market together with a group because you are so confident in where you land in the customer journey and you specialize in it and you're a rock star at it. And so you can share it with other people that serve your client before and after you do. It is pure magic. And I've seen this happen time and time again for people that have really been able to hone in on where they lie in their customer journey, what lane they stay in. So my invitation to you is for you to do a couple of things. And then I'm going to show you my tip that I use to find people that I can potentially collaborate with, okay? My first invitation to you is to, this is going to be blunt, to get out of your own way. You may be sitting here listening to this training and you're like, oh, it's so clear because you're in the world of business and it's so obvious that people need a web design and it's so awesome that it's so obvious that people need to know how to do email marketing and create a course and they want to know how to scale, like all those things. It's so clear for your business. And I want you to know that that is the most common roadblock for women in business, is that we feel like we are the exception to what we're being taught. It's like, Sarah, that's so cool that that's worked for you, but it doesn't work for me because I sell toddler shoes. Oh, okay, if you sell toddler shoes, what does that mean? That also means that you have a lot of people that solve problems before that person is a toddler. What about someone that sells like baby breastfeeding things, okay? What about someone that sells baby safety gear? What about someone that does meditation centered around being pregnant? What about, I mean, are you starting to see how that little toddler shoe company all of a sudden can expand into working with people that actually work with babies, because eventually that person's going to become a toddler, right? And we can work in such a beautiful, beautiful way together if we can get out of our own way. So if you are having those feelings right here, right now, in this moment where you're saying, gosh, I just feel like there's no other problems that are solved other than the problem I solve, get out of your own way and start to expand your circle and say, I know that I sell home decor for people. Well, why are they buying home decor? Did they just get a new home? Does that mean we're going to be working with real estate agents? Did they just have a baby and therefore they're repainting their room? Did they just experience some sort of tragedy and so they're trying to redecorate an area of their home, XYZ? I mean, try and create a story around the actual people that you get to work with. Okay, and that is where the magic will come. I will never forget when Dan Kennedy said something like, he's one of the most fabulous, crusty old marketers, I love him, of all time. And he said something like, the person who can spend the most to acquire a customer will always win, right? And I remember sitting in that room and being like, okay, that makes total sense. And oh my gosh, I'm not sure I know my customer well enough. Okay, do I know my customer well enough to actually put in a whole bunch of money to acquire them as a customer when I don't know who they are? Okay, so start to get to know them. And I mean as real people, what their mornings look like, what keeps them up at night, what their afternoons look like, what their life is going to look like in a year, what their life looked like 6 months ago. And all of a sudden, it's going to open up this opportunity to say, oh, these are people who have been served by other entrepreneurs who are brilliant at their craft. And those are your collaborators, okay? So competitors, let's review, and then I'm going to show you my trick, okay? Competitors, number one, are people who share your audience, who produce your same result using a similar method, okay? Cool. Collaborators are people who share a similar audience, who solve a problem either before or after the problem you solve. Okay? Cool. Those are our people. Those are our people. I'm so glad you've joined me today. Let me leave you with a little tip. And for those of you who are listening here on the podcast, you're not going to be able to see these visuals, so I'm going to try and explain it as well as I can. My goal is for you to leave with one really good collaborator today. Can you think of one really awesome collaborator that you know has a similar audience than you and produces a great result and solves problems that are either before or after yours? Think of one. And once you think of that one person, I want you to look them up on Instagram, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to look them up on Instagram, and if you're on your mobile, you're going to see kind of on the upper right place, you're going to see a little body with a plus sign. Okay, it used to be a down arrow. Okay, so it kind of depends on which version you're writing on Instagram, but it's a little person's head with a plus sign. We're going to put this in the comments below for those of you who are watching live. Okay, and so I'm looking at my favorite collaborator. Her name is Catherine Jones. You will meet her eventually in this group. I love her dearly. She's exceptional at what she does. So she is a collaborator I know solves problems that I don't solve on my customer journey. So if you look at her, you're going to see this little person with a plus sign. And what happens when you click that is all of a sudden it gives you suggestions of other feeds similar to hers. Okay. So what happens is you click on that and boom, it starts to give you a whole bunch of Instagram accounts that you're like, I have no idea who these people are. But what Instagram is telling you is people who follow Catherine Jones are also in large numbers following this person. and following this person and following this person. So anytime I'm feeling like I'm running dry on like who to bring on the podcast or who to collaborate with, or I just need a boost of new energy and new excitement in the business world, I will go to those collaborators that I know solve problems I don't solve, and I will click that little button, and it gives me a whole fresh feed of potential people that I can look at to eventually collaborate with. And it like cuts the time in half, so you don't have to like sit here and Google people or try and make up names or like all go by referral. Like, it's a great starting point. Now, the caveat to that is you still need to do your homework, because there is probably someone out there that people are following in addition to Catherine Jones that probably are a competitor to me. Full blown, totally true, okay? So I still need to go in there and do the work, and I click on that person, I look at their bio, I see what they're doing, and it's like, do they pass the collaborator test, right? Are they someone who has a similar audience than me? Do they solve problems that are either before or after what I solve? If yes, you've got a potential collaborator there. Awesome. Okay, so my goal is for you to be able to now have confidence in understanding the difference in between a competitor and the nightmare that that will give you as a business owner if you choose to work with them, versus a collaborator, in which will be the greatest gift that you could ever bring to growing your business in this day and age. There's huge, huge power to it. I am super grateful that you've joined us. And if you are someone who has been stuck in the world of like, why do my collaborations not work out? My guess is it's most likely not a collaborator, that you are working in some way with a competitor, and this is a new moment for you. This is a great pivot moment for you. And so what I'd like you to do now is your homework, whether you're here on the podcast or you're in the Facebook group, your homework for today is to simply shout from the rooftops in the group, I found at least one great collaborator. You don't have to tell us who it is, but you get to do your homework to say, I can confidently say that this is a brilliant collaborator. And if you want extra credit, I would like for you to reach out to them to talk about a potential collaboration by the end of the week. You guys are amazing. Thank you for being here again at the V2 Marketing Podcast. So grateful that you have been here. Let's dive into the world of working at a higher level with collaborators, which is really, there is no secret behind the fact that that is one of the most robust ways to grow your business now in 2022. Thanks again for joining me live, and we'll talk to you all soon. See you on the other side. Thanks for being part of Victor's Global. If learning to be brilliant at marketing, a 12-hour work week, Fridays off, a commitment to family, faith, and business is what you're aiming for, I'd like to personally invite you to meet other V2 marketers just like you. Search for V2 Marketing on Facebook and join us for live trainings every single week. As always, if you love what you learned here, share it. This podcast is possible because of awesome entrepreneurs like you.